welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to share with y'all some of my favorite scary movies. Now these are older movies, so you've probably already seen them, but just in case you haven't, there are going to be spoilers within this video, so I'm sorry about that. The first one I wanted to start with isn't actually just one movie, but a series of movies, and that is Scream. And a lot of these are going to be series, and I'm just going to tell you my favorite ones out of all of the movies within the series. But Scream is one of my favorite movies. I really always loved that movie. Even whenever people would make fun of it and say that it was just kind of a stupid, kind of, hokey horror movie, it was still one of my favorites. I think the reason that it scared me and bothered me so much is because of the realism to it. And whenever I say realism, I mean, the idea of like somebody stalking you and wanting to murder you because they have a vendetta against you. I'm not going to try to give away a whole lot within this video about these movies, but just enough to give you an idea. In Scream, the main character is played by Neve Campbell, and her name is Sidney Prescott. Sidney Prescott is the daughter of a woman who was murdered a year prior to all of the Westboro murders happening. So she thinks the person who murdered her mother is locked away in prison because she happened to see him leaving their house. So without a shadow of a doubt, in her mind, that is the person who murdered her mother, and that person is locked away. Now, all of a sudden, some murders start happening again in the small town that they live in. And the first two murders to happen are a young couple by the name of Casey Becker and Steve Oath. And I think I'm saying that last name right. So anyway, these people get murdered in a very brutal way, and it makes national news. There's news reporters flocking to the school, trying to get an interview with the police and students and whatnot. The principal and police are talking to all of the students. And everybody's just in shock, like, who would do this? Who would murder these young people? And little do they know that the whole reason that all of this is happening is because somebody has a vendetta out against Sidney Prescott. So as the movie progresses, people are dying, her friends are dying, she doesn't know what to do. And at this point, you really have no idea who the killer could be. It could be anybody. And for a long time, I thought I had a really good idea whenever I first saw it. I thought I knew for sure who the killer was, and then I was totally wrong. I was way off base. And I'm not going to give it away in this video of who the actual murderer is, if by chance you have not seen these movies, so I don't want to give that away. I was very surprised at who the killer actually ended up being. And I say killers because, yes, there are actually two killers within the movie. So now we move on to the second Scream. And in the second Scream, Sidney thinks everything's fine. She's moving on with her life. The person who did all these horrible things to her is dead now. So she doesn't think she has really anything to worry about. So she's just trying to live her life in college and do what she wants to do. She's got a boyfriend now. She's just really happy. She still gets the occasional prank phone call where somebody's like, hey, what's your favorite scary movie? And of course she has the old vintage caller ID from the 90s that was like a big old block that would say their name and phone number on it. So she's able to read off who they are. And then all of a sudden murders start happening again. And in this one, what really kicks off this movie is that a young couple, again, is murdered. And this time it's at a movie theater where they went to go see the movie that is based off the murders that happened the year prior in Westboro. So they went to go see Stab and ultimately ended up getting stabbed. So again, the news media flocks to this college, and the police are surrounding this college, and they want to know what's going on. And of course, right away, Sidney feels like that this is, that things are happening again, because the person who murdered the couple in the theater was wearing a Scream mask, which, obviously they were. They went to go see a movie called Stab. And again, they kind of play it off in the movie that you think you know who the killer is, but you really don't know who the killer is. And that's what I love about the second one, because they really picked, I'm not saying that the actress who played this part, or not saying that the actor who played this part was insignificant, but their role was kind of insignificant. So it would have been like a person that you would least suspect. So again, Her, Sidney Prescott, Gail Weathers, and Dewey all have to fight for their lives, and they come out triumphant once again, fighting the person that is trying to murder them, or shall I say, people that are trying to murder them. So, moving into the third movie, by this time Sidney Prescott has had enough. She's living out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody really knows where she's at. Only 2 people within the movie really talk to her or know where her whereabouts are. Everybody else, as far as they know, she has just fell off the face of the earth. Well, now murders start happening again, and this time the person who gets murdered is somebody that we suspected early on in the movie to be the murderer. And now all of a sudden he has finally become the victim. Somebody found him in Hollywood and murdered him and his girlfriend. Well, this strikes more concern, and everybody starts thinking, oh my God, these murderers are happening again. And now here's Sidney Prescott feeling that somebody's going to come after her. So while these murders are happening, you get introduced to the person who has been creating all of the stab movies, the director of them. And all of a sudden, people who play in the movie are the ones that are starting to be murdered. And they are being murdered in the order in which they appear in the stab films. So again, here is Sidney Prescott, and she comes to Hollywood to help figure out who it is that is committing these murders. We finally found out who is behind all of this, the grand master that is behind all of this stuff that has took place, and how this person was able to manipulate all of these people within Sidney's life to do his dirty work. And his connection to Sidney was something that I didn't personally see coming. The next movie I want to talk about, and this one is really a brain twister, and that is House on Haunted Hill. Now, I'm talking about the remake, not the original, although the original is equally just as good. The remake is a little bit more modern, a little bit more scarier, a little bit more puts you on the edge of your seat. In this one, they all get invited to this house, which is this beautiful mansion that actually was an insane asylum. But anyway, when they get there, nobody really knows who anybody is. Like, it's like they were randomly just selected to come to this party. Even the people hosting the party don't even know who they are. So the wife whose birthday it is like asking her husband, like, why did you invite these people? I don't know who they are. And he's like, I didn't invite these people. I thought you knew who they were. But the spirits of this old asylum do start to come alive. And one of the things that I really like about this movie is that the thing that they're trying to get away from, the thing that is killing them and that they're trying to run from, is not anything tangible. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. It's not a person that you can shoot with a gun like in Scream. It's not, a psycho killer, like Freddy Krueger or, Jason or anything like that. It is something that it's very paranormal. And, this is just the thing coming after them is just a big old ball of just pure evil. Everything evil in the world is manifested into this thing. And that's what I really love about this movie, because it's something, like if I was in a situation like that, I would be scared shitless. So that's what I really love about this movie. Not to mention that you have this crazy, insane doctor who's just wanting to do all these weird experiments on people, and it is just crazy. I highly recommend this movie. The next movie that I want to talk about is Nightmare on Elm Street. And I want to kind of talk about the whole series, because I have a few within the series that are my favorites. And I know people, debate on which is their favorite and which is not their favorites. But my ultimate favorite is the very first one. And I'm talking about the original Nightmare on Elm Street, starring Robert Englund as Freddy. After that one, I would say that my next favorite ones would be Dream Warriors and New Nightmare. I really liked Dream Warriors because it had Patricia Arquette in it, and I really, really like Patricia Arquette. I think she's a great actress. And also the fact that the original actress that played in the first one is coming back in this one. So that's one thing that I really, really liked. Now, with the New Nightmare, again, the original actress that played in the first one and in Dream Warriors comes back in a New Nightmare. And I really like the take that they put on New Nightmare, where it's like you're taking something and you breathe so much life into it, and like so many people believe in it so much that it makes this thing like real, and it's able to manifest into our realities. And I love that that's the spin that they took on this one. People may debate with me, and that's fine. Everybody has the right to their own opinion, but I just really, really enjoyed those three movies out of all of the Nightmare on Elm Street. I love the whole series, but those were like my three top favorites. So, a little fun fact about Nightmare on Elm Street is that was Johnny Depp's first role, and he was just 19 when he started that. So, the next movie that I'm going to talk about is Friday the 13th. Yes, the very old original Friday the 13th, not none of the sequels, but the very first Friday the 13th. I love that movie because just like in Scream, you don't know who the killer is. You have no idea who it is. But if you've never seen Friday the 13th, basically what happens is there is a camp that is called Camp Crystal Lake, and the camp counselors there are not very attentive to the children that are at this camp, and one of these children is a child with special needs, and they're not doing their job, and unfortunately this child drowns. Well, sometime later, after the camp has been closed for a while, the people who own the land want to reopen the camp. They want to profit off of this camp that's been sitting dormant because it's just a waste of land. So they're in the process of trying to get the camp ready again, get it looking good so that they can have camp goers come back to Camp Crystal Lake. Well, somebody starts murdering all of these people because they don't want this camp open. And if you've never seen it, I'm not going to say who the killer is, but remember, it was one of the questions that was in Scream. Who was the killer in Friday the 13th? Just a little fun fact, only because this is a pet peeve of mine and it really drives me crazy, is whenever people, like I know like people will see shirts on Facebook, because even I've seen them, that'll have like a Jason mask, you know, the hockey mask on it, and it'll say cha cha cha, like on it like that. That is not what that is being said. That is not what is being said. What is actually being said is kill, 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 ma, ma, ma. And what that is from the original movie. When the actress who played as Jason Voorhees' mother, Mrs. Voorhees, they took an audio dub of her saying, kill for mommy. And whenever they did that, they just cut it down a little bit so you get them first syllables of them two words. So you get the ka and ma. And then they put it together to go ka, 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 ma, ma, ma. So that's actually what it's saying. It's not saying the cha, cha, cha sound that people make all the time. That's just a little pet peeve of mine. Last but not least, and you cannot finish off spooky season or Halloween without watching the Halloween. And I'm talking about the 1978 film starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Not to disrespect the remakes or anything like that, or the Rob Zombie ones. Those are all really good. I did like the Rob Zombie ones. But there's nothing like the classic one. I'm sorry. Jamie Lee Curtis was phenomenal as Laurie Strode in that movie. But if you have not seen Halloween, basically what it is that this very young little boy murders his family, gets sent off to an insane asylum, grows up in the asylum, and then one day escapes. And he goes back to his hometown, and he's hiding out inside of his house. And he's actually going around killing the babysitters and just killing all of these people. And, you know, you're kind of wondering, why is he targeting these people? Why is he targeting this one girl specifically? And it turns out that Laurie Strode is actually Michael Myers' little sister. If you ever seen it, you remember in the beginning, his older sister was babysitting him and their little sister, and he murders the older sister, and that's what sends him to the asylum. And he doesn't kill his little sister. She gets adopted out to another family, ultimately changing her name from Meyer to Strode. Another little fun fact, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know this, but the original mask that they were going to use for the movie Halloween actually got melted, and I'm not 100% sure on what led to it getting melted, but from what I heard and what I've read online is that somebody, when they took the mask off, or somebody had the mask and they set it down on one of them like external like wall heater things, and they set it down on that and it melted the mask. Well, they were in a pinch and really needed a mask, and it was Halloween time, so there were some Halloween costume shops and stuff like that still selling stuff. So they went and got a mask, and the only masks that were available were Captain Kirk from Star Trek masks. So they just grabbed one of those masks, spray painted it white, and thus the Michael Myers mask was born. Well, anyway, these were just some of my favorite movies. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you did, and tell me down below what are some of your favorite scary movies, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!